everyone. My name is Chloe, and welcome to part one of my 2023 favorites. So I think this is going to be 3 parts. I'm going to have one video that is like my 23, maybe my 23 top 23 books of 2023. I think that's what it's going to be. But you guys, I'm having a really hard time doing that list, and I knew that I had to split out a couple of genres. Okay, so I'm not going to do like every single genre, but when I was looking at my list, I had general things that I loved, and then I had a whole separate list of nonfiction that I loved and a whole separate list of middle grade that I loved. And so today we're going to be talking about the middle grade books that I loved. And now some of these are going to be books that I read with my kids, and my kids, for reference, are 5, 3, and 1. My 5 and 3 are a little bit advanced, so we're reading early elementary. So some of them are that. These are great for early readers, great read-alouds to kind of spur the excitement for kids. So I'm going to give you my top 20. Not all of them are those early readers, but we'll get into it. So my top 20 in no particular order. I can't even begin to put these in order. So no particular order, but number 1 is Alien Next Door by A.I. Newton. So this is a really cute book about a little alien boy who comes to Earth. His parents study different planets, and so he comes to Earth, makes friends with his neighbor. And the entire series is just them and their different hijinks, learning about each other's cultures. It is so cute. It is really, really cute. We read the entire series, and I would recommend it. Next is Adventures of Sophie Mouse by Poppy Greene. These are maybe my all-time favorites. These are great for early readers, first, second, whatever grade, because there's pictures on almost every page, and these are adorable. It follows a mouse named Sophie and her friends Hattie the frog and a snake that I'm blanking on his name, but the 3 of them and the things that they get into. And these are so seasonal. Like, there's a fall one, there's a winter one. There's so many really, really seasonal great ones, and they all have great lessons. Sophie has a little brother, so there's some sibling dynamics that all of it just felt like things that I have seen happen in my house, and they were all great conversation starters, and they're so good. Next is Secret of the Hidden Scrolls by M.J. Thomas. So this is one that we definitely read together. But my daughter, I would say maybe 3rd, 4th, upper elementary could read these independently. They are telling different stories of the Bible through these kids' experience. So these kids, there's a brother and sister that are staying with their great uncle or something for the summer. And he's got this room of hidden scrolls, and the scrolls transport them into the Bible times, different stories. And I think there's maybe 9 books. We have not completed them all, but while they're in the story, they have a certain number of days to figure out a message about God. And you're seeing them in the context of these different stories. Like, they go to the Garden of Eden, they go to Babylon, they go to all these different places. And it's just such a fun way to teach our kids about the Bible in different ways. So I would highly recommend it. Next is Princess Posie by Stephanie Greene. So Princess Posie, she is this little girl. She's a 1st grader. So that's about where the level of these readers are. But she's a 1st grader. She goes into 1st grade at the beginning of the series, and she feels really nervous, and so she becomes a princess. She wears this tutu, and again, just really relatable contemporary stories for girls in this 1st grade area. Friendship stories, just different things, great stories. Next is Greetings from Somewhere by Harper Paris. So this is a series about 2 kids who are homeschooled because their parents are different, travel journalists, and one's a photographer, all that kind of stuff. So they're going all these different places. This was a great way to introduce some geography stuff and countries and landmarks that we may not have otherwise talked about. And I like that they are homeschooled. So obviously that's a way for my kids to kind of see themselves in that book. So really great series. Read the whole thing. Loved it. Next is Gooney Bird Greene by Lois Lowry. And Gooney Bird Greene, she is this character who is just unapologetically unique. She comes in and she has this vocabulary. So I know a lot of teachers and things have used Gooney Bird Greene for vocabulary because she doesn't speak like a normal 1st, 2nd, whatever grader she is. And she just comes in and owns herself, tells all these ridiculous stories, and it's a great, great series. Next is The Major Eights by Melody Reed. So this is about a group of 8-year-old girls who start a band, and my daughters love this. We read them all together, and now they're all reading them individually. It's just a really cute story about friendship, music, all the things. Next is Tales of Sasha by Alexa Pearl. So Tales of Sasha, Sasha is this girl this horse who discovers that she can fly. And so she's kind of trying to figure out that. She's also trying to explore some of the limits of where she lives and otherwise places she has not otherwise been able to explore. And so again, friendship, a lot of good themes going on in there. Definitely recommend. Next is Isadora Moon by Harriet Muncaster. So this is a series about a little girl who is part vampire, part fairy. Her dad is a vampire, her mom is a fairy. And so she's kind of torn between the fairy world, the vampire world, and then the human world because they live in the human world. And so she has to decide what school to go to and all these things. And so she decides to go to the human school. Spoiler alert for the first book. And so it's like just blending all these different cultures and how it works for her. And a lot of really fun things. Like they go to a carnival that's like a magical carnival. They do all these things that are really fun. Next is Daisy Dreamer by Holly Anna. So Daisy is a little girl who has a wild imagination, and she has a best friend, an imaginary friend named Posey. And Posey lives in the world of make-believe. The world of make-believe. And so I definitely like these stories better when Posie comes to the real world and we see Daisy Dreamer in her real world and Posie's interjecting. I like those books better, and I will say definitely towards the end of the series that's more the road it takes. The first one's in the contemporary world, then the second and third and maybe even fourth are kind of in the world of make-believe, and it gets a little bit like not thought out, but I'm also not like a huge fantasy reader with like world building and stuff, so maybe it's just a me thing, but I felt like it was just kind of stuff slapped together. But this series is really cute, and I like kind of talking about that with my girls, like how your imagination can take you anywhere and do anything, and I enjoy the series. Next is She Persisted, and these books are all about different female figures. Some are athletes, some are historical figures, some, like we read Oprah Winfrey, we read Simone Biles, we've read quite a few, and Chelsea Clinton is like the one who kind of spearheads the project, but each book has a different author. And I will say these are ones that you want to probably pre-read before sharing with your kids, because like they don't shy away from the hard stuff. Oprah Winfrey has had a really hard past, and in hers specifically, it brought up a lot of topics that I probably wouldn't have read with my 5, 3, and 1-year-old. But it's interesting to see where she is now, and Simone Biles was really impactful for them because they are both gymnasts. They really like gymnastics, and so that one was really meaningful to them. So I would recommend maybe pre-reading. They have them on audio too, and so you can listen to them that way really quickly. But I really like them, and will definitely continue to utilize them as my girls get older. Next is The Critter Club by Callie Barkley, another series that is beloved in this house. We've read the entire thing, and The Critter Club and Sophie Mouse, I've bought the entire series. These are books about 4 girls who decide to create the Critter Club, which is kind of like an animal rescue center, and they get all sorts of animals in there. Again, we've got friendship stuff. They're second graders maybe, so we've got friendship stuff, that normal developmental stuff, as well as their love for animals, and yeah, we love it so much. Next is Mercy Watson or Tales from Deckawoo Drive. There are 2 kind of conjoined series by Kate DiCamillo. Mercy Watson is a domesticated pig. She lives with Mr. and Mrs. Watson, and she loves hot buttered toast. And like, I don't even know if my kids had ever had hot buttered toast before we started reading these books, but now they're obsessed. And so we read these a lot. And she lives on Deckawoo Drive, and so Tales from Deckawoo Drive are about other characters, but Mercy's almost always in them too. And the series have some overlap, but we read all of them. And like, there's some that are in like chapter book form and some that are in like picture book form. They have all sorts of different ones. And again, vocabulary is great in these, and they're just an entertaining ride. Definitely one to pick up. Next is The Haunted Library by Dori by Dori, Hillestad, Butler. And this is a series about a little boy. He and his family are ghosts. And then one day, like the window breaks or something, and they all get sucked into the wind. They cannot go into the wind because they have no control over their bodies. And so they all get separated. And so he meets up with this little girl who can see ghosts. And they live in a library, a haunted library, if you will. There's a ghost already living there, but they're always searching for his family. And so it's a really cute book about family. And as the series goes on, as they find some of the family members, we're talking about family versus found family. And it's just a really great, fun way to talk about things. Next is Jasmine Greene Rescues by Helen Peters. So I would say this one's more of a third, fourth, upper, like not upper middle grade, but upper elementary series. It's a little bit longer and all of that. But this is about a little girl named Jasmine Greene, and her dad is a farmer and her mom's a vet, and they live in a very rural area, and she rescues a bunch of different animals. And every book is a different one, and every book her mom says, like, we're not keeping this animal, and then almost every time they do, and it's just so cute. We have not read the entire series, I don't think, but we're working on it, and we love them. Really good themes. Again, the love for animals is a great thing, and these are really good books. Now we're getting into ones that I read for myself but really enjoyed. So we have Smaller Sister by Maggie, Edkins, Willis. And this is a graphic novel about a girl whose sister is struggling with an eating disorder. And how she, as the younger sister, sees that and how it impacts her own body image. And just, oh my gosh, it was so good, but so sad as somebody who has seen that in real life. Like, it is just so sad and so real. You know, this is autobiographical, I think, of her experience, and it's very, very good. Next is Anne Frank's Diary, the graphic adaptation by R.A. Folman and Anne Frank. This would be a great thing for like upper elementary as you're kind of introducing Anne Frank and the topic of World War II and stuff, because it is great art style. Love the art style. Really just loved how I don't know if Ari is a male or female, but I love how they chose what to include and what not to include, because of course if it was in the entire diary it would be very, very long with all the pictures, but we really get like the vibe of Anne, and we fall in love with her and get the tension, and then it just ends, much like the diary does. And yeah, I think this would be it's a graphic novel as well. I don't know if I said that, but great way to introduce it without like having the full diary. Next is Friends Forever by Shannon Hale. So this is another, again, kind of like memoir, autobiographical graphic novel by Shannon Hale. And I just liked it. It talks about her struggle with anxiety. I love these middle grade graphic novels, and this one was really great, along with my next ones. I read almost everything by Raina Telgemeier. So I read Guts, Sisters, Drama, Smile. I read them all, I think. And Guts, Sisters, and Smile are all memoirs, autobiographical of her, again, with her struggle with anxiety and her sister and, body image, all the things that you kind of go through as a tween. And then Drama was one that is just a fictionalized account of like Drama Club. And that's something that I was never into. So it was my least favorite, but I just, again, love the art style, love the amount of words on the page, and just love how like authentically she captures things. I will say some of them you can definitely tell are an adult looking back on a childhood experience as opposed to like a child walking through it, but that's kind of to be expected. And as an adult reader, I didn't mind it. So there's that. And then number 20, Surprisingly Sarah by Terry Levinson. And this is a part of the Emmy and Friends graphic novel series. And I really love all of them. I think this Surprisingly Sarah may be the only one I read this year, like in 2023, but I love them all. And this one specifically is about boy-girl friendships and how those change as you go into like middle school and kind of different like just how those change. So I really like that. But the entire series, Emmy and Friends, I think it's Invisible Emmy. Like this is like number 7. You don't have to read them in order, but all the characters are somewhat connected. So Yeah, love those. So those are my top 20 middle grade books or series that we read, I read in 2023. This video is kind of a teaser for the ones upcoming because I know this isn't going to apply to all of you, but if you're interested in that, either because you have young kids, because you're looking for middle grade March recommendations, I don't often read middle grade novels to myself. I don't know why. I think I will more as my kids get more to like where they're reading more bigger stuff. But right now I'm loving the graphic novels and then the early elementary stuff that I'm reading with them. Love it so much. So that's everything I read. Let me know. Do you read middle grade? Do you not? Have you read any of these series? Are you sick of me talking about them? Because goodness gracious, now my kids are, most of those series, they are rereading themselves. And so I probably won't be talking about them this year, even though I love them so much. So that's everything. Let me know your thoughts. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.